And I give the call to the Honourable the Leader of the Opposition.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker, my question is to the Prime Minister. Prime Minister, as a great multicultural society, we all support a well-planned migration program. However, given we are in the middle of a housing and rental crisis, with worsening congestion and growing cost of living challenges, why is the Prime Minister adding another 1.5 million people from overseas over the next 5 years, including an extra 400,000 this year alone, and why was this hidden from the budget speech? Won't the Prime Minister's migration policy just make life harder for the growing number of working poor Australians?
Order. The Minister for Home Affairs will cease interjecting. Members on my right will be warned if they continue to interject during a question. Give the call to the Prime Minister.
Thanks very much, Mr Speaker. Well, they've had a further 24 hours to consider the magnificent budget brought down by the Treasurer.
Order.
And they've come up.
Order.
They've come up with the same first question as yesterday, when they asked just one question of me, and the Shadow Treasurer asked just one question of the Treasurer. Remarkable. And I note the Shadow Treasurer can't even get an MPI in budget week. It's just absolutely extraordinary.
Order.
But
the member for Gippsland.
I'm asked about migration, and yesterday I informed the House, unchallenged, that the numbers were going to be higher under them. The numbers were going to be higher under them. That's just a fact. And the Leader of the National Party, I'm going to quote my friend, the Leader of the National Party again here, because he had some advice for the Liberal Party leader about immigration and where policy was. He said this: "We'll be constructive with this government in saying that we welcome the changes that they're bringing forward. We believe permanent migration is important."
The Leader of the Nationals.
He went on to say this: "We've got to acknowledge some of the challenges that we left behind, like the fact that there were nearly 1 million unprocessed visas is a failure." You've got to put your hand up. You've got to be honest with people. He's going to be honest.
The Prime Minister will pause. Order. Far too much noise. I want to hear from the Leader of the Nationals.
Relevance, Mr Speaker. The comment was about 1.5 million new immigrants. Right. There was no support of that whatsoever.
Resume your seat. Resume your seat. Resume your seat. The question was, the final part of the question, about government's migration policy making life harder. The Prime Minister is answering a broad question at the end of the question that was added to it. I give the call to the Prime Minister.
Thanks very much. You don't have to take instructions from the Liberal Party. Stand up for yourself. Stand up for yourself.
Order.
Back yourself in.
Order.
Have a bit of confidence.
Order. The member for Groom.
He said this: "We didn't get it right in the fact that the backlog was there, and I congratulate Andrew Giles for the work he has done on that in a pragmatic way, making sure we can move forward." But I don't have to go to the Leader of the National Party. I can go to the Leader of the Liberal Party, because this is what he said. This is what he said when we made an announcement in relation to the migration program. He said it's too little, too late. He wanted more and sooner. He said this decision to lift the migration cap should have been made 100 days ago when the government was elected. He said we do need an increase in migration numbers. These are all grand announcements. I want to see the rubber hit the road. It's clear that the migration number needs to be higher. That's what he had to say. That's what he had to say. And the Shadow Minister at the time, indeed, said this when asked about an increase in migration. Said she's now on the backbench. One of the three people that this leader has lost, 3 shadow ministers since the last time Parliament
sat. The Prime Minister's time has concluded. The Prime Minister's time has concluded.